Buen dia. Welcome back to Single Black Man from Des Moines. My name is Al Salmon Jr. I've been a dog handler in the service. Since I've been out of the service, I've worked in retail, healthcare, and libraries. I have taught Hapkido for over 20 years. I am currently single and retired from marriage. Now I'm a fledgling writer. From time to time, I'll read some of my pieces, both fiction and nonfiction. And time permitting, I'll tell some jokes that I've heard from the past. I like to keep these around 15 to 20 minutes. I'll post stuff every week, so please like, share, and subscribe. If you like to purchase my works, I have some things at Smashwords, or email me at al_simon@hotmail.com, and I'll send you a complete list of all my prices and works. If you order from me, I go through PayPal. If you need more flexibility in payment options, then go through Smashwords. But be advised, not all my material is up on Smashwords. I'm going to try to finish up today with You Can't Pick Your Neighbors. Again, it's essentially chapter 1 of my novel. Either it's under Dead Moines or Nothing Happens in Dead Moines. With some exceptions, again, it's pretty much chapter 1. I did take some liberties to it to get it as a one-off story. That being said, let me tell you a story. A week later, he needed some gas, and he stopped by Save-On convenience store. Darren usually chatted with Doobie for a good 10 minutes. They both told jokes and talked about comic books. That ordinarily would lift his mood, and after the past couple of weeks, that was overdue. Until he saw Mark Britt at the counter checking out. All reason left his body. All he felt was anger and rage. Mark happened to turn just as Darren was reaching out to grab him by the shirt. Mark's eyes were laced with fear. Darren could feel him shrinking within his grip. "Look, you little fucker. If anything else happens to my house, I'm going to kill you." "I didn't do nothing." "You broke my windows. You shot BB pellets through them before that." "It wasn't me. It was Sparky." "I saw you do it." And Darren gave him a shake before throwing him down to the floor. "I'm going to call the cops," Mark cried. Darren reached into his pocket and pulled out whatever change he had and threw it at the prostrate kid. "Call the fucking cops. But remember this, if anything else happens to my house, anything." Mark scrambled to his feet and ran out the door. Darren looked about the store and was immediately embarrassed by all the aghast looks by the patrons, the clerk behind the counter, and his friend Doobie. "I'm sorry," he said sheepishly, and began picking up the loose change he threw at Mark. He went to the counter to pay for his gas when Doobie walked up to him with a cautious smile. "Angry much?" Darren let out a small laugh. "Man, you don't know half of it." "Well, the Brits are something else. I could see how they could get under your skin. But Darren, be careful. I wouldn't put anything past them." Darren paused before speaking. He thought it accomplished little by telling Doobie that he had disarmed Junior. All he said was, "Yeah, I know. I'll watch my back." They chatted a few minutes more. Darren was almost in a tolerable mood. That is, until he got home and found a concrete block fragment in the middle of one of his newly replaced overhead door windows. A week later, Darren pulled into 11th in between Robert's Lounge and Ebony Lounge. It wasn't long before a swarm of young black men surrounded his car, offering him baggies of weed. "I got the shit, man. Fuck that dude, man. I got what you need." Darren waved them off and crooked his finger at the lad leaning against the west wall of Robert's Lounge. The young man sauntered over. He wore an oversized hockey jersey, baggy shorts that hit mid-shin, and a cap with 4 aces embroidered over the bill. "What's up, Cordero?" "Darren." The two touched fists. Darren first met Cordero at the Paul Robeson Library when the boy was in elementary school. Rita was a library assistant at the time. Rita and most of the staff didn't like Cordero. They found him rambunctious and at times unruly. He didn't have any other siblings and was raised by his mother. Darren took him under his wing, just by chance. The boys saw him teaching Hapkido to a girl and wanted to learn something. It was during their interaction that Darren discovered Cordero wasn't as bad as advertised. He lacked a male role model and needed some boundaries. Boundaries set with kindness and instruction. Once Rita transferred to another library, Darren felt out of touch with the boy. He'd see him occasionally on the corner of 11th Street. He had dropped out of the school and had joined the Four Aces, a local gang. He, like the other boys, sold dime bags of weed. "How's your mom?" "It's all right. Got a new boyfriend. Don't like him much." Darren let it pass. He had been raised by a single mother, and their relationship was best described as tenuous. "How's Javon?" Finally, a smile stretched across the boy's face. A hint of a gold grill was evident when he said, "Man, that boy's bad, but I love that little fucker." A few minutes passed. Darren reached into his shorts, pulled out a pack of Cools, and offered one to Darren, even though he knew Darren didn't smoke. As the boy lit up, Darren said, "You ever think about going back to school? You're 17. You're still pretty young." "Oh, fuck school. All the teachers are prejudiced, always picking on me and shit." Darren let that go. "I ain't going to preach to you, but being in a gang ain't what you call a long-term investment." Once he saw that Cordero was going to argue, he cut him off with, "I need a favor from you." After a few moments, the boy nodded and said, "I got you." It was a week later when Darren spotted Mark Britt next door. His eyes were blackened and one arm was in a sling. He didn't have any more issues with the boy. And that ends the story, You Can't Pick Your Neighbors. Okay, I'm going to close here. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to purchase my works, I have some things over at Smashwords, or you can email me at al_Simon@hotmail.com, and I'll send you a complete list and prices of all my works. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get Al out of the ghetto, and I'm going to close with this. You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.